There once lived a humble man on the side of a busy road, where cars and buses rushed past all day long. He wasn't a man of fancy education or grand achievements. He didn't own a big company or have a college degree hanging on his wall. But he had something that made him truly special: a love for what he did. His small business was simple yet filled with heart. He sold hot dogs, and not just any hot dogs. His were known as the most delicious in the entire region. Every morning, before the sun even touched the rooftops, he would get up with a sense of purpose. He cleaned his little cart until it shined. He checked every ingredient with care. The buns had to be soft and fresh. The meat had to be of the finest quality. He knew that people could taste the difference between something made with love and something made with laziness. His customers didn't just come for the food. They came for the feeling that came with it. He believed in giving people a great experience. He believed that if he did his work with honesty and enthusiasm, good things would naturally follow. So he put up a large, bright, cheerful sign that read, "Hot dogs so good, you'll smile." The sign lit up every night and caught the eyes of everyone who drove by. It wasn't just an advertisement. It was a reflection of his spirit. He didn't care about market trends or news headlines. He didn't sit around worrying about what was happening in the economy. His world was small but full of meaning. It revolved around serving people with the best food he could make. When he handed someone a hot dog, he did it with pride, a smile, and a sparkle in his eyes. That genuine warmth made customers come back again and again. The man's business started to grow rapidly. Word spread fast. "You have to try the hot dogs from that man by the roadside." People from nearby towns began stopping just to taste them. His customers loved his energy. Even on hot summer days or chilly winter mornings, he stood there with joy and enthusiasm. Slowly, his humble cart began to make him a good income. He could now afford better equipment, a nicer setup, and even more fresh supplies. He expanded his little stand and made it even more welcoming. He didn't do it out of greed. He did it out of love for his craft and gratitude for his success. In time, his earnings grew so much that he was able to send his only son to one of the best universities in the country. It was a dream come true for him. He often told his customers proudly, "My son is going to be an educated man. Smarter than me. He'll do great things one day." There was pride in his voice, mixed with humility. He truly believed education would open more doors for his son than life ever had for him. People admired the man not just for his food, but for his attitude toward life. He was living proof that you didn't need to be rich or highly educated to be happy and successful. All you needed was passion, consistency, and a positive heart. He focused only on what he could control: the quality of his work, his attitude, and his service to others. He didn't waste time worrying about what could go wrong. He simply showed up every day, gave his best, and trusted that his dedication would take him forward. And for a long time it did. His business thrived, his customers multiplied, and his confidence grew stronger with every passing day. Little did he know, a test was waiting for him. A test not of his skill, but of his belief. Because sometimes success isn't lost through failure. It's lost through fear. And that fear would soon come knocking at his door in the form of someone he loved dearly: his own son. Time passed, and the man's small hot dog business continued to flourish. Every day his cart was surrounded by happy customers. The delicious smell of freshly grilled sausages filled the air, and people often stopped just to smile, chat, and enjoy a warm meal made with love. The man was content. He didn't know much about economics or politics, but he knew how to make people happy. And that, to him, was enough. Then, one afternoon, everything began to change. His son, who had been away studying at a prestigious university, came home for a visit. The man was overjoyed. He hadn't seen his boy in months. He hugged him tightly and proudly said, "Son, look around. Business is good. People love my food. All thanks to you. I could afford to send you to the best school." But his son didn't share his enthusiasm. He looked around at the small roadside cart, the bright sign, and the cheerful father with a serious, almost worried expression. "Father," he began, "you don't understand what's happening out there. Haven't you been following the news? The economy is collapsing. People are losing their jobs everywhere. A massive recession is coming. You need to prepare yourself. Things are going to get very bad." The father froze for a moment. He had never heard his son speak with such authority. "A recession?" he asked quietly. "But business seems fine." His son sighed impatiently. "That's what it looks like now, but trust me, I've studied this. When a recession hits, people spend less. Businesses suffer. You have to cut costs before it's too late. Stop wasting money on expensive ingredients and flashy signs. Save every penny you can. It's the only way to survive." The father listened silently. He admired his son. After all, he was educated and smart. The man himself couldn't read the newspapers or analyze the economy. If his son said a storm was coming, then surely it must be true. That night, for the first time, the man couldn't sleep. His mind raced with fear. What if his son was right? What if the good days were over? The more he thought about it, the more his heart filled with worry. The next morning, everything felt different. His cheerful energy was gone. His confidence was shaken. He decided to act wisely, just as his son had advised. He stopped buying the best meat and buns and replaced them with cheaper options to save money. The bright sign that once caught everyone's eye. He turned it off to save electricity. He no longer greeted people with his warm smile or friendly voice. Fear had replaced his enthusiasm. At first he told himself it was only temporary, just until things got better. But soon he began to notice something strange. His loyal customers stopped showing up. The few who did come didn't seem as happy anymore. They noticed that the hot dogs didn't taste the same, and the joyful man who once made their day had lost his spark. In just a few weeks, business began to crumble. Sales dropped sharply. The once busy cart now stood quiet and lonely. The man felt frustrated and confused. "Why is this happening?" he muttered to himself. "I tried to be careful. I did what my son said." A few days later, he sat beside his now dim sign, counting his losses. When his son returned, the father looked at him with sadness and said, "Son, you were right. The recession is here. Business is terrible." But in truth, it wasn't the recession that ruined his business. It was fear. The man's belief in the idea of failure had become stronger than his belief in himself. He had created the very outcome he was afraid of. The father didn't lose his customers because the economy changed. He lost them because he changed. His energy, his confidence, and his joy. Those were the real ingredients that made his business thrive. When he replaced faith with fear, everything else fell apart. The power of belief had silently transformed his world. He didn't realize it yet. But the real storm was never outside. It was inside his own mind. Days turned into weeks, and the man's business continued to struggle. What was once a place filled with laughter, delicious smells, and joy had turned dull and quiet. The man still stood by the roadside, but now he did so without energy, without that spark that used to attract people from miles away. His hands still made hot dogs, but his heart was no longer in it. Each day felt heavier than the last. He kept thinking about what his son had said. The economy is bad. People aren't spending. Hard times are coming. Those words echoed in his mind like a dark cloud that refused to leave. And the more he believed them, the more real they became. Customers stopped coming. Not because they were broke, but because the light that drew them to him had gone out. One morning, as he sat beside his quiet cart, the man looked around and realized how much had changed. Not in the world, but within himself. The road was still busy. Cars still passed by. People still stopped at other food stalls, but not his. He sighed deeply and whispered, "Maybe I really am finished." But then something powerful struck him. He remembered the old days, when he didn't know anything about the economy, when he didn't worry about the future, when he only focused on doing his best every single day. Back then, he had joy, confidence, and passion, and business was thriving. Now, after filling his heart with fear, everything had fallen apart. And in that quiet moment, he finally understood. It wasn't the world that had changed, it was him. The real problem wasn't the recession, it was his belief in it. The fear had stolen his enthusiasm, poisoned his energy, and turned his strength into weakness. He realized he had let someone else's thoughts become stronger than his own. This simple yet profound truth applies to all of us. The world will always have problems. There will always be bad news, warnings, and reasons to be afraid. But if you let that fear take control of your mind, it will slowly kill your motivation. You will stop giving your best effort. You will lose your spark. And before you know it, your fears will come true. Not because the world forced them on you, but because you believed them into existence. The mind is powerful. It can either build your future or destroy it. What you focus on expands. If you focus on fear, you will see failure. If you focus on possibility, you will see opportunity. The father didn't lose his customers. He lost his confidence, his energy, and his belief in his own power. Once those were gone, everything else followed. It's wise to stay informed, yes, but it's dangerous to let information poison your spirit. Knowledge is meant to empower you, not paralyze you. The moment you allow fear to guide your decisions, you stop being the creator of your life and start being a victim of it. You are the gatekeeper of your own mind. You decide what thoughts you allow to stay. You choose the ingredients of your work, your effort, your passion, your attitude, and your belief. Those are the things that create success, no matter what's happening outside. So, the next time the world tries to convince you that things are getting worse, remember the man with the hot dog cart. Remember that your belief can either build your world or break it. The truth is simple. Success doesn't start with luck, money, or education. It starts with mindset. The quality of your thoughts shapes the quality of your actions. The man learned it the hard way, but you don't have to. Protect your enthusiasm, guard your hope, keep your light shining even when the world grows dark. Because when your heart stays strong, no recession, no fear, and no doubt can stop you. Now the question is, what lesson from this story touched your heart the most? Which part reminded you of your own journey? Share your thoughts. Someone out there might need to hear your perspective too.